Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to a video I've been considering making for a while now. So quick background on me before we get started. I am a big Disney fan. I visited the Disney parks from when I was 4 through to when I was 21, and I worked at the Disney parks on a Disney college program for 2 summers. Then ever since, I've visited as much as I can. Obviously there's been a bit of a blip in recent times, but I will be back there in December. So I do love Disney. I'm a big fan. I have a lot of Disney stuff. I'm wearing a Disney sweatshirt today. I released Disney inspired prints. Like, I'm a Disney fan. But today's video is going to be about the topic of Disney adults. I actually started to look up some definitions to see what people consider to be a Disney adult now. So I went on Urban Dictionary, which is always a fun time, and they define it as a millennial adult with or without kids that can't stop talking about Disney, including the movies and the parks. Even if they do have kids, they're still way more obsessed with it than their kids ever would be. They probably engage in casual Disney bounding and visit the theme parks at least once a year. They are obsessed with everything Disney and probably have a Mickey Mouse bumper sticker and or tattoo. One of the most terrifyingly intense people you'll ever encounter. That's quite intense for just one definition, but don't worry, there's more than that. There's then someone who's gone to the effort to do this huge long definition talking about someone with an intense extreme love of the Walt Disney Company. They devote an unreasonably large portion of time or resources towards expressing their love of Disney. They buy merchandise, memorabilia, collectibles, novelty items, movie ticket subscriptions, often criticized for their radical support of and devotion to a company that makes what is widely regarded as being children's entertainment. So that literally feels like an academic definition to me, which shows just how much it's kind of like permeated pop culture. There are many more definitions on there, but those are kind of like the first 2. However, when I was looking for these definitions, I also came across a number of articles because it's a pretty saturated field in a kind of like journalism realm, I guess you could say. Actually, the first one that popped up was quite lovely, which is about Disney adults share what it's like to be a grown-up fan. So they said that Disney adults are people who embrace the magic of Disney and don't care what others think because their happiness is what matters. That's the first time we've kind of seen like a nicer side to it. But then we go on to an article from her campus, talks about the difference between a Disney adult and an adult who loves Disney. This person basically tries to separate themselves from the whole like phenomenon of a Disney adult, and they basically say, I'm an adult who loves Disney, but I'm not a Disney adult. And that feeds into the whole kind of idea on TikTok that happened last year. It was a whole trend which had the sound of like the answer is yes, but the answer is also no, the answer is yes, but it's also no, and people compared kind of 2 sides of the Disney fandom. They had like yes to more tasteful kind of merchandise, subtle details, and just kind of like more cute stuff that you wouldn't be like in your face Disney, and then no would be like more graphic cosplay style, like just Mickey Mouse on a t-shirt, huge collections of Loungeflies, really bright garish colours, and the whole thing was kind of like adult who loves Disney versus Disney adult. I found myself part of that whole trend of being like, oh, those people are over there, they're just like weird and too obsessed with it, and we're here and we're totally fine and we're just like in our cute Disney bubble. We're over here being normal because we spend $6 on a Mickey bar. I would always say to people like, yes, I love Disney, but I'm not as bad as those people, and then show them photos and try and like kind of justify my love of Disney. However, then I found this article on the tab which really just grinded my gears. So this article is from last year by a guy called Tom Haynes, and it says Disney adults are the most terrifying people on the planet and they need to be stopped. A Mickey Mouse tattoo isn't cute, it's weird. So already we know it's going to be kind of a satirical article, because obviously there are things much more terrifying than someone who likes princesses and castles and wearing Mickey ears, you know, like real world problems. But I was intrigued, so I had to read on. We're now going to kind of react step by step to this article because it really got me angry and actually kind of changed my whole perception of Disney adults and how I fit into that narrative. They talk about obviously like the general perception of what a Disney adult is, but they say, I don't care if you think we shouldn't dunk on people for enjoying things. I'm here to tell you that Disney adults are what happens when you don't bully people enough for liking things. They talk about how these are overgrown children, they need to shake off their pixie dust, cut their infinitely long hair. And here's why. Disney is a part of their everyday aesthetic, so they're always operating on some level of cosplay. Let's just dissect that for a moment. You're basically saying that you wish these people had a harder time from those around them for the things that they like, and that if they were bullied more and had like a worse life, that would be better for them. If they weren't allowed to fully embrace and accept who they are and just enjoy their passions, that would be a nicer world. Interesting. But then they go on to talk about the people who are obsessing over who could play who in these live action versions of animated films. They say there are TikToks creating cast lists for the live action Hercules remake, and then they say, seriously guys, there's a pandemic going on. Read the room. maybe you should read your title. They say that Disney adults know an obscene amount of trivia that will never be useful to anyone. I personally love my Disney trivia because it's interesting and so many people love Disney and it is history to me. They bash on people who have Disney tattoos and also people who listen to the Disney music. So once again here we have a kind of comparison of I'm like this but not like them. They say, I will admit I have a lot of time for a Disney banger. Zero to Hero is a total bop and I'll Make a Man Out of You is great. Notice those are both kind of like the macho Disney song. But Disney adults by comparison, when they're not jamming out to the Frozen soundtrack or that one really annoying song from Moana, How Far I'll Go, thank you very much, they're taking a detour to Hamilton or the Greatest Showman soundtracks, you know that both of those are extremely bad vibes. So Sky also has an issue with musicals, incredibly popular musicals that millions and millions and millions of people love. He's just allergic to joy, really, isn't he? But like I said, he's kind of like, okay, so these songs are fine to listen to because they're like cool and, you know, masculine, but don't listen to those ones. Those ones are weird. Who are you to decide which songs are acceptable to listen to as an adult? Maybe someone finds it weird that you listen to I'll Make a Man Out of You. Like, everyone is living their own lives. Why do you have a big issue with it? And after reading this article, I was really just like, why are you ratting on people that just enjoy something and criticizing them unnecessarily, because you're not getting anything out of it? Like, the whole vibe of the article was just extremely negative and just going off on something and devoting so much of your time to trying to bring other people down, which is the opposite of what generally a Disney adult, I guess, would be trying to do, which is spread positivity and pixie dust and magic. Like, yes, it might be cringy, but I'd rather devote my time to that kind of avenue than being unnecessarily negative and cynical and taking other people down. Like, I just don't understand it. Something I also found really interesting is if you go through every aspect of the article that he's talking about and why it's unacceptable that Disney adults do these things, if you replace it with football, those things are quite common. So firstly, unnecessary trivia. Most of the guys I know, they meet up, they talk about football and random stats and, oh, this game there was this score, and this game this defender was playing, and this game this person was in goalie, and this one in 1982 was when they won the World Cup, and all this information. It's like, they have unnecessary information, so why is that acceptable? Tattoos. A lot of people who support football teams have a tattoo. Going to the parks all the time. A lot of people who love football have a season ticket and they go every weekend to the games and they basically spend like 1 out of their 2 days off completely devoted to that sport. They often only associate with people who are also into that sport, or even in their own team, and at least like a whole kind of culture around like us and them, and people are fiercely devoted to their teams. They will not miss a match. They have so much merchandise. They wear the football shirts all the time, even if they're not going to a game. Like, if you replace every aspect of that article with something about football, no one would have a problem with it. They'd be like, oh, that's normal, that's society, we've accepted that. Because I want to frame this carefully because I don't want to offend anyone, football is generally a cis-het masculine sport that we've accepted. I know there are women who also like football. I know people part of the LGBTQIA+ community like football. Like, I know everyone likes football. I'm not looking to like start a discourse around football right now, but generally when you go to a football game, the vast majority of the audience, wow, the stands, the supporters, is going to be a cis-het man. But we've accepted that because men generally control how something is viewed as. I'm gonna go down a whole like tangent here, but I saw a TikTok the other day about how a lot of things that are traditionally seen as feminine now started out as masculine. So high heels, ballet, being a secretary, these all started out as male pursuits, and then once women got involved with these things that are actually quite hard to do, like ballet is really tough, wearing high heels is not the easiest thing. Once women got involved, men removed themselves. This is a whole massive tangent, I know, but it just shows that like generally men control what is seen as acceptable and appropriate in today's society, and anything that kind of like diverts from that is seen as kind of like immature and childish. Like, why do we go off on teenage girls so much for being obsessed with a certain pop star or a band when their male counterparts often are super into one sport, and that's completely fine and they devote all of their time to it? Like, why are there these rules for what people can like and devote all of their time and resources and money to? Like, why is one form of it okay and the other not? I guess there is a point where you need to think about, is being a Disney adult harmful? Like, if this person is spending all of their money on Disney and they're getting in debt, yes, that's a problem, but that's not part of the whole phenomenon of a Disney adult. Like, not every person who just loves Disney and the company and the parks and the films is driving everything into this one hobby. A lot of us have multiple hobbies. So I also love musicals, which is in the article, but anyway, I'm a big foodie. I like different restaurants. I'm really interested in gymnastics. I really closely follow that. I'm into fashion, photography, obviously making videos. Like, I have many different facets to my personality, so that's why I kind of often thought, well, I'm not a Disney adult because I don't just like Disney, there's more to me than that. But actually, maybe I am a Disney adult, but I just have different interests as well. And there's always going to be the people at the most extreme end of the scale who are like the ultimate level of obsession and I'm not going to get anywhere near that, but that doesn't necessarily negate my love for Disney in its own certain way. A lot of it probably does come back to the fact that animated films are still traditionally seen as marketed for children and made for children, but this goes back to even Snow White. Like, people say that Walt Disney was actually kind of annoyed with the Oscar he got and like the 7 Little Ones, because he wanted Snow White to be treated as a serious film and nominated with the rest of the films there, not get this like kind of special category. Just because things are animated like cartoons does not mean that they are just for kids. Look at Family Guy. I know obviously Disney humor is not kind of at that level. Again, Soul, that came out last December, I'm sorry, that's not a kids film. Yes, kids could watch it and probably have a great time, but the whole like deeper meaning of it is meant to appeal to adults. Disney are not just targeting kids here, and people have that argument. I'm sorry, you're incorrect. So what was quite interesting was, after reading that article talking about how Disney adults are terrifying, I now would say I am a Disney adult, just because I'm defensive of the whole concept of it and I don't see why it should be an issue. That article persuaded me into claiming my Disney adultness. And I feel like the more we kind of claim that title and just say, yes, that is me, the less it's going to be a kind of joke and seen as a dismissed thing, and maybe it will become more acceptable, because I'm so fed up of interest being dictated to me of what's acceptable and what is not, and what I'm allowed to like, and also how much I'm allowed to like it. It's my money, it's my life. If I want to spend money on another pair of Disney ears, yes, I have too many, then I'm gonna do that. If I want to go to Disney parks on holiday again, then I'm gonna do that. No one goes off on skiing families for going skiing every year and going back to the same place every year and doing the same holiday. But if a family goes to the Disney parks every year, it's like, why are you doing that again? There are other places to go. I don't have an issue with people going skiing every year, so why do they have an issue with me going back to the Disney parks every year? I mean, I wish, I would love to, but I feel like that article as well, I think back to friends I used to have in the past who were quite negative people, whereas I'm obviously quite positive, and they would kind of try and drag me down to be negative like them, because like they say, misery likes company. So this guy obviously has a lot of sadness and cynicism and negativity in his life that he needs to address, but rather than doing that, he wants to take down people who are actually really happy and having a good time and reveling in the magic and getting to enjoy themselves and, yes, engage in their inner child, because what is so wrong with that? We live in a really, really dark world, and if people can find a brief kind of few days or a week or a weekend of happiness, then I don't see what's really wrong with that. Also, I feel like a lot of the discourse is around Disney adults who go to the parks, when actually there's a lot of people who can't really go to the parks and just enjoy it at home as well. They're still a Disney adult and they're not really spending a lot of money on it. They're just sitting at home using their Disney Plus subscription and having a great time, and you should do that, and you should do you. I just need us to stop criticizing others for liking the things that they like or loving the things that they love, because yes, I love Disney, I'm a Disney adult. And to quote Miss Taylor Swift, another one of my major obsessions, I'm having more fun than you. In the end, what I guess I'm trying to say is there's really no difference between Disney adult and adult who loves Disney. They are just different ways of framing it, and I feel like if you're over the age of 18 and you like Disney and you like going to the parks, buying the merchandise, and you spend a significant portion of your time thinking about, talking about, enjoying products of the Walt Disney Company, you're probably a Disney adult. Welcome, let's have fun. Please comment down below what you now consider yourself to be. Are you a Disney adult, and why would you say yes or no? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and would like me to make kind of more commentary videos, I guess. Subscribe for more fun, more magic. Like I said, I'll be back in the Disney parks in just over a month. I can't quite believe it. It's been a long time coming. I'll be back in Orlando and my heart could burst, honestly. So I'll be vlogging the whole trip, obviously. Subscribe if you would like to see those videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!